you have to understand that luxury items are literally made to rob you, right? And if you're a middle class person, a working class person, a poor lower working class person, you have to understand these items aren't particularly made for you. And the ones that are made and promoted to you via rappers and stuff like that, it's to keep you in that cycle and a trap of wasting your money and never actually being able to save and allocate your funds correctly, because you're always coming from a place of lack. And when you come from a place of lack, you look for things and experiences to cover up the missing parts in you as a person, right? Drivers Mate Podcast or Drivers Mate Podcast. Why am I whispering? Because it's a secret. Like it's only a few people know about this, and it's real. And you know why I say that, right? I know I start off by saying it's real, but just imagine the Truman Show, right? It's a real life person's life. But now imagine if Truman was making a show inside of the Truman Show, right? So it's like, hey, although Truman doesn't know there's a show going on, but he secretly does, right? Truman's like, alright, now I'm going to make a show inside of the Truman Show. And now by the fact that the people are watching the Truman Show, they're now watching Truman's show too, right? So that's why I whisper, it's the best kept secret. Because those who know, know, right? And those who don't, don't. But besides that long jargon of nonsense, right? Jovial or truthful? I don't know. Is it revealing? Is it concealing? It depends who's watching, right? Anyway. So, yes, it's a real show. I'm a real person in a real van talking about real things that I probably have no business talking about, right? But I do it anyway, right? And if you like this show, you can like, subscribe, and it not only helps my channel, it helps channels like me permeate the YouTube algorithm and pop up on people's browser page, right? So other people can enjoy real shows, right? And we're not talking like real reality TV like Love Island. No, we're talking actual real people, like in real life, that have jobs to do, like families to take care of, lives to live, right? Not fake stuff, right? So yeah, if you do like, subscribe, you help not only me, other people like me, and you also help to keep freedom of speech free, right? Long tangents I always do, but hey, I'm here to entertain you and possibly educate you sometimes. And I would ask you this, I think it was Gladiator, are you not entertained? You're not? Alright, just wait, right? Just wait.
Do you like spending money?
I hate this song.
Clearly not particularly. I heard a story that you wanted to buy a watch, and at this point,
that guy looks like Biden.
You'd sold millions of albums and you wanted to buy a watch.
I know the story.
Is that true? You called up your manager to see if you could afford to buy the watch?
Yeah. I think it was a Rolex, was it? And I asked him, could I afford it? Because they make fun of me for it, but I'm for real. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, this is the whole money thing, all that stuff was brand new to me.
So what are you wearing right now?
This is a G-Shock.
A G-Show?
It's probably about $100.
Do you like spending money?
Right. That was Eminem, right? Love Eminem. Big up Eminem, right? Now, what was he saying in that video? He was like, I assume that they're alluding to the beginning time of his career, right? Before Eminem is Eminem as we know him now. After the Eminem show and all of that, right? After big Eminem. Of course, Marshall Mathers is great Eminem, and it is our Eminem, right? But there's big Eminem, like, you know, I think that's Skylar or something like that, the woman's name is, right? Eminem songs like that, right? Eminem songs that we don't normally listen to. They're just for TV and for club and for radio, right? I'm talking about 8-minute freestyle bad meets evil Eminem, right? That's my Eminem, right? If you don't know about that, you should go check that out, right? That's Eminem at his purest. Young man, slim, shady Eminem, right? Barring, right? Anyway, in that interview, it seems like they're alluding to the beginning of his career. At some point, he was going to buy a watch, and then instead of him just buying the watch, because probably he wasn't managing his own finances, he had to ask if it's okay to buy a watch, right? Which is mad, but it makes sense, right? And the reason I say that, right now, I don't know if this is true or not, but it's just like the, you know, like fanatic propaganda that we consumed as kids, right? But if you remember 8 Mile, right, you saw how. So there's a whole social economic situation in Detroit, Michigan, right, in America. And I think that town or that city, right, or that state, yeah, was like a manufacturing state, like a hard blue-collar working state. People made cars and all kinds of things, right? Motown music and all of those places, music came out of that place, right? So it's a rich history and culture, both white people and black people, hard-working people, right? Now, in 8 Mile, we saw that Eminem was kind of just like a normal person. I know, like, in the beginning of his career, he joked a lot about just being trailer trash and that, but in the film, he made it appear as if that was actually his life, right? Like I said, I don't know if it's true or not. It's entertainment. But even if that is the case, right? So just imagine Eminem is just hanging around with Proof at some point, like, in his life, like, he's just on road. He's just a normal geezer, yeah, that's just doing a job, right? He's got a girlfriend, he's got life problems, right? He's hanging around with black kids and smoking weed and rapping and doing all kinds of stupid shit that kids do, right? But he's coming from a more poor place, like, I assume this, right? Because his last name is Mathers, right? So that has its own connotations. But I assume, and you don't know why, we'll get into that on another video, right? That's cool occult facts that you might be interested in knowing, right? Don't ask me why I know or how I know, right? Yeah, anyways. But we assume that Eminem was quite poor, right? Significantly not well off, right? So, yeah. I assume, from my perspective, the early days of Slim Shady, right? He's just a working class guy like me who just happens to be able to rap incredibly well, right? So yeah, of course, once he started to see some success, right? I think there's a lyric that he has in one of his old songs, like when he's like, people started noticing his house, right? And the kids started knocking on his door and shit, so he had to move, right? But yeah, like, he was literally in the normal place where normal people live, even though he was having his success. Now, back in the day, you wouldn't really see your success real time, right? Even when I think it was Infinite he made. Is it Infinite? Begins with an I anyway, right? But there's 2 albums before you get Marshall Mathers LP, right? I think. One's like a purple cover and he's at a dock and there's a moon and all that. And the other one's a black cover, right? But anyway, even when he made that first kind of mixtape album before his actual demo tape, maybe that was the demo tape. My history is bad, right? And I'm driving and I'm not really concentrating. But anyway, right? Even though he had all those things happening early in his career, right? The industry ain't how it is now. You couldn't see your success real time, right? And you wouldn't know that the guy in the car over there is listening to your CD, right? Or that the guy behind the counter over there is listening to your CD. You just wouldn't know. There was no internet to say, hey, have you heard this new Eminem, right? It was word of mouth, right? So he wouldn't have actually known he was that successful in the beginning, right? And so now he moves up a level to the Dr. Dre level and to Jimmy Iovine, and he's got his contract and he's making big songs, right? Even at that point, if you can understand coming from a place like where I'm coming from, I wouldn't care either, right? I'd be like, well, I'm getting to do what I love, right? And I'm afforded enough money to buy the things I like, and I can live and I can record music. And Eminem was doing crazy amounts of drugs at the time, so yeah, drugs, women, music, right? All he really needed to do what he'd done, right? Which makes sense. It's a lot like Lil Wayne. It's the same kind of thing, right? So yeah, if people were managing his money for him, he really had no reason to pay attention to it, right? And this is all perspective, right? It doesn't mean it's true at all, right? But ideally, he wouldn't have had to touch his money at all, right? So he would just ask, right, can I afford to buy this, right? I don't know, right? And coming from, if he really was coming from a working class poor place, you don't just be like, all right, today I'm just going to get out and buy a 20 grand watch, right? You don't, right? You ask questions first. Although I'm questioning the validity of this story at all, but it's good for, let's just say, political relationships with working class people. Let's just say it like that, if it was politics, yeah? So yeah, I can understand why he might do that. Now, I would love to make this whole episode and just talk about anecdotal Eminem stuff, because I loved Eminem growing up as a kid, and I still listen to Eminem now. I appreciate Eminem as a rapper, right? An artist. But time will not permit that today. So just on that fact, you have to understand that luxury items are literally made to rob you, right? And if you're a middle class person, a working class person, a poor lower working class person, you have to understand these items aren't particularly made for you. And the ones that are made and promoted to you via rappers and stuff like that, it's to keep you in that cycle and a trap of wasting your money and never actually being able to save and allocate your funds correctly, because you're always coming from a place of lack. And when you come from a place of lack, you look for things and experiences to cover up the missing parts in you as a person, right? And you may try to do it through finance, you may try to do it through drugs, you may try to do it through fame, music, and all of these things to cover up who you are as an individual, right? But all of those avenues will spring you off back into the luxury world, when really the luxury world once you reach a certain level of success, a financial success anyway, the luxury world is just the normal world, right? Your Gucci's and your Louis Vuittons become your H&M and your Foot Locker, right? That is the reality of that. But because you're on the ground level, you aspire to this stuff, which is really just nonsensical marketing and branding, right? It means nothing. If you look at a person like Eminem, although there's times you will see him dressed up very like smart with a lot of luxury items on him, right? For the most part, you'll still see him wearing a pair of Air Maxes, and you can say, yeah, he does wear the Air Maxes and all that, and that's just clever branding, right? To make him seem like that same Detroit kid that was just battling, right? Yeah, that's clever branding. But at the same time, it's foundationally sound, right? From a financial point of view and from a life point of view, right? It has utility, just like Dr. Dre, right? Billionaire, but maybe not, maybe now, I don't know, right? But billionaire, but he still wears a pair of white Air Forces and just black clothes, right? It doesn't matter if the black clothes that he's wearing cost £1,000 a piece. It's still just functional to him as a billionaire, just like the Air Maxes are as functional to Eminem as a multi-millionaire rapper, right? It's part of his brand, and it's probably part of what he grew up collecting anyway, right? So from that point of view, as a normal person, yeah, don't get sucked into luxury, right? If you're a person that really understands watches and understands all of that kind of valuation and future projected earnings off of investing in a watch, then yeah, fine, buy a watch. But if you're not, why would you, right? You've just been influenced by people that couldn't care less about your existence to waste your money, your life savings on these things, unless of course, like I said, you know what you're doing, right? So I would love to get into this a bit more, right? Maybe you guys can remind me in the comments at some point to come back around and do an episode on just Eminem, Slim Shady, and that whole era of music, right? I wouldn't mind doing that, right? Just maybe over at CNC, CMI, or even here on Drivers Make Podcasts, right? Because I know you're thinking, right, why does this black guy like Eminem, bro? And I would tell you, shut your fucking mouth, bro. You don't know shit about music or rap or culture if you think that way, right? I can pretty much guarantee that, right? But anyway, it's neither here nor there. You tell me what you think, right? Does it make sense that if Eminem came from that working class world, that he wouldn't know how much money he actually had to make a purchase like that? Or is that just a manufactured record company story just to make him seem more like us normal people, right? You let me know what you think. Are you a bit skeptical of it, or can you understand that, right? Because even me myself, right, sometimes I don't really care about how much money is in my bank as long as I can pay my bills, right? Savings do savings, investments do investments, and everything else is just standard. It's enough that I need. I just work for enough that I can get what I need and have some savings and do stuff like this, right? As a creative, your mind is never on business, it's never on finance, right? You just need enough to survive so you can thrive in the thing or the field that you want to do, right? And I know that's a starving artist point of view, but hey, it's real, right? Mathematicians and artists aren't the same people, but we use maths in art and there's art in maths, right? So just think about it like that, right? So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. Big up Slim Shady, aka Eminem, yeah, aka Marshall Mathers, yeah, aka bitch I'm gonna kill you, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Thank you for your time. I sincerely appreciate you watching the show, like I always say. Hope you enjoy your day. Hope you're being productive. Hope you're getting work done. And don't forget, if you want to see these seasons in real time, go over to Patreon, right? You can see the seasons full. You can binge it. You can sign up. But if not, never, don't worry about it, right? Chances are you're watching this on the YouTube schedule, which is about two years behind the actual real-time seasons that I'm doing right now. So yeah, if you see this, big up yourself. If you watch to the end and you're a real fan of this show, love you, bro, yeah? But make sure you're doing the work. And sis, sorry, I need to leave out ladies. Remember when Eminem was like, haha, I'm just kidding, ladies, no, I love you. Yeah, anyways. But yeah, thank you for your time. At CNC CMI is the main channel, right? Check out the other videos in the playlist of Drivers Make Podcast YouTube, right? It's good stuff in there. Don't judge it off of this episode. It's a very short surface level episode. There's more in-depth, more entertaining, more educational episodes than this, right? Because we're limited for time. But anyway, other than that, love you, man. And don't judge a book by its cover, right? If you're a white person, don't judge a black person by the cover. If you're a black person, don't judge a white person by the cover. And always, if you're getting involved with art, observe the art, understand the art, and be subjective, right? Don't think that it's supposed to be objectively good because numbers say wrong, right? It's either good because you like it or it's not. That's all that matters, right? So that's my piece on that. Keep smiling. Have a nice day. Right, see you later.